Tell you what, that guy, he's at it again. And boy, is my wife ticked. Whew. So as you know, Carolyn and I live off grid. And I must mention, it's been like fall-like temperatures here. It's late August, no, mid-August, early August, I guess early August. I don't know, it's August. And temperatures have been real cool in the morning and not too bad in the afternoon. But I digress a little. So as you know, some of you may know, we've been working on our solar panels, trying to get them more efficient. And it has worked out fantastic. Now I know there's the trolls out there who keep thinking I'm repeating myself, but I've noticed there is a ton of people who has been very appreciative that I've been talking about the solar panels so much, because nobody, and this is what I'm hearing in the comment section, not that I'm saying this, nobody on the internet is covering it as much as I am. I don't know if that's true. I think there's one that covers it exclusively, but besides, that's fine. I mean, if people are learning from me, that's great. So in order to make them more efficient, I only did two things. I added 2 new solar panels, which are up there, and I can move those around a little bit. I put them on some extra long wire. So in the evening time, when the sun sets in that direction, I can just turn them around, bring them down here. I can even bring them over here where I'm standing. And that has helped out a little bit, especially on cloudy days. Yesterday, it was cloudy all day long. And I ran the well pretty good yesterday. Ran it a lot. I didn't know if I'd be able to get through the night with the charge from the solar panels. Well, the sun came up around 3 o'clock. Charged batteries up. I didn't have to run the generator. So things are getting a lot better for us. And I mentioned that I ran the well. I wasn't able to run the well that much off the solar panels before, but now I haven't ran it off the generator except one time since I did all this, which is a couple months ago now. The other thing I did was I got 2 charge controllers now. I only used to have 1, but now I have 2. And I brought them in here. Now I know it's a little dark, so I apologize, and I hope I don't lose a lot of people. So these are the charge controllers. If you go on Amazon, they're the cheapest ones. They're called MPPT charge controllers. I don't sell things, so I'm not even trying to advertise them. This is very key. This is the whole point of my channel. I'm not trying to sell you on anything. If you want to live off grid, I'm just telling you what I did. I have the cheapest MPPT charge controllers. I don't know who makes them. I can show you what they look like. This is the older one. They don't have a name brand on them. And then I got a newer one over here, and this one's a little bit better than the old one because it has a fan on it, so it blows the hot air out of it when it gets above 20 amps. The charge controllers take energy from the solar panels. The solar panels produce 20 volts, but I only have a 12-volt system. The most I can charge my batteries, my lead acid batteries, is 14.4 volts. So think about that range, 12 to 14.4. You're actually not supposed to get lead acid batteries below 12.3. So 12.3 to 14.4. But the solar panels are producing 20. You would think that would overcharge the batteries. Well, the MPPT takes those extra voltages, whatever it is, in this case, let's say it's called 5.5 volts, and changes it into amps. So now you have volts times amps equals watts. That way you're not getting too many volts in your battery. At the same time, you're still getting lots of amps into your battery. So this is an 800 amp battery setup. I have 8 batteries. They're all tied together. Over here is positive to positive to positive to positive, positive all the way down. And then negative to negative to negative, negative all the way down. So I change a 100 amp battery. I change 8 of them, 800 amp batteries, into one 800 amp battery. So it's 12 volts, 800 amps. So charge controller bring electricity in from the solar panels, manipulates it, and puts it in the batteries, and then when the batteries are charged, the charge controller shuts off. Now, I've mentioned before that the charge controller works much like a car battery charger. This is actually what I use to charge batteries with the generator. I have 2 of them. If I needed to, I could use both charge controllers and both battery chargers at the same time. So I'd have 4 devices charging all at the same time if I really needed to. So these charge controllers, 6 solar panels go into this one, 6 solar panels go into this. So 25 amps can go through each one of these. So now I'm getting a total of 50 amps going into one battery bank. But I also could put 25 amps from this in one and 25 amps from this battery charger. So there's another 50 amps. So that'd be 100 amps I could produce all at once if I were to hook these up to the generator. I would never need that much battery. I would never need to charge that much, that fast, because my inverter, which changes DC electric, which is the battery, and AC electric, which is the house connection. These are called inverters. You can see it's got a little household plug. So I have a 1,000 watt one and I have a 2,000 watt one. I use the 2,000 watt for the bigger items like the well pump, but I don't run it that much because it uses 2 amps an hour. Just sitting here not doing anything, it'll use 2 amps. So I shut it off when I'm done using it, and I just use the 1,000 watt inverter. As I hope I said inverter. These are inverters. These are pure sine wave. You can get modified sine wave. I have one of those here. Those are a lot cheaper. You get them at Walmart if you wanted to. But they're not clean electricity. They don't do 60 hertz very well, whereas the pure sine wave does. So as I was saying, the charge controllers work just like the battery chargers, except taking electric from the wall socket in your house, it takes electricity from the solar panels. That's the only difference between them, that they work almost identical. So then I can run my well pump. Actually, it's getting where I can run my well pump quite a bit throughout the day. As long as I do it like before 1 p.m., the batteries always seem to have enough time to recharge by the time the sun goes down. I can run it a lot in the morning. On a good sunny day. On a cloudy day, I only run it for maybe 15 minutes and that'd be about it. But either way, I can fill my IBC tank, which I've talked to you about before. So I have water in any situation. I have electricity and water in any situation. Now, people always talk about SHTF because apparently when you come to off-grid channel, you have to talk about SHTF. Stuff hits the fan. My biggest concern is my freezer. Living off-grid, not worried about SHTF. I want to make sure that freezer always has enough battery to run it overnight. So I got to make sure that the batteries say 12.7 volts before I go to bed. It's got to say that. If it's below that, then I got to charge it before I go to bed. But since I've hooked it up this way, I've not had that issue. I do think I'm going to get another battery before winter, because winter tends to draw electricity out of the batteries. They're just not as efficient through the winter. So I think I might get another one before winter, before the real cold temperatures. I don't know what it's like to be hooked to the grid anymore. When the electric goes out, the last time I know for sure that the electric went out in our area, it took me 2 days before I realized it. We kept running just like always. And I think that's key to survivability. You know, SHTF, everybody wants to talk about SHTF. I think that's the key to survivability, is being able to just keep going when there's no power in your area, as though nothing changed. But in order to do that, you got to reduce your electric intake. You just can't use a lot of electric. So like I said, we use the freezer, the well pump, some tablets, a couple phones. Now we also ran that camper a few months ago when Carolyn's son was here, and we ran the air conditioner. But I wouldn't trust running the air conditioner day in, day out on solar panels, especially on cloudy days. So Carolyn and I just don't run it. We've gotten adjusted to the temperature. Now we still have the generator. We have a dual fuel propane gasoline generator, 2,500 watts, and that can run everything we need. It can run the well pump, it can run the house, it can run the camper, it can run the air conditioner. Maybe not all at the same time, but it can run. Then we also have a 1,500 watt generator. Now it can't run anything except these battery chargers. So like I said, if I really had to and I needed a lot of electric, I could start that little generator up. I could run these 2 battery chargers plus the 2 charge controllers. I'd have 100 amps going into the batteries. That'd be a lot of electric I could use. Plus, I'd still have the big generator that I could run if I needed more electric. Like I said, I don't think I'd ever need that much. So recently, I guess a couple days ago, a big storm hit the entire East Coast from Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, I don't know what all the states, South Carolina, and it knocked out millions of people's of electric. And I've been trying to warn folks about this. Now, I would have thought that the preppers would have gotten on their channels and talked about it. I really thought that's what they were going to do. They like talking about the fear-mongering stuff. But they didn't, which tells me prepper channels aren't really into helping folks learn how to prep. I feel like I'm really here to help you to learn how to live off-grid. I don't sell anything. I try to make money off ad revenue, so my videos, you'll see some ads on it. That's how I make my money, and it's not much. I don't have a PayPal account. I don't have a Patreon account. I don't do any of that. I just want to help you learn how to live your dream. And if in the process that somehow helps you survive SHTF, then great. My dad lives down in the hurricane zone. He lives a quarter mile up the hill from the Gulf Coast. And he's been through several hurricanes, some big ones too. His neighbor has a generator and they run the well pump, and he has considered buying a small solar panel setup like I have, so he could run the well and run the refrigerator, the freezer, whatever he needs to run during that 2-week period that his electric goes down. Of course, he's getting up there in age, so his big thing is, well, do I really want to invest the money? I may only get another hurricane or two in my life. That's all I need. So I can understand the point, not just wasting money just to be wasting money. So if you're on the East Coast, for example, you don't have electric, your food's going to rot in your freezer. I don't know how long it's going to be down, but it sounds like it's multiple states. It would be a lot better if you could just not even notice. It would be better that, oh, well, I had an electrical issue in my area, but I didn't know about it until the electric came back on. Everybody started getting on Facebook and telling me about it. If a wind came through here that significantly, like it did in those eastern states, what I do is I turn all my solar panels upside down. And then I put a piece of metal on them. I kind of stack them up, 2 or 3 high. I stack them up, then I put a piece of metal on it, and then I put concrete blocks on top of the metal. That should keep it from flying away, but the solar panels are also being protected by this garage. So when the wind hits, it hits this garage. Now the garage, I tie up to my lawnmower. I don't know how well that would work. I think the lawnmower weighs 600 or 800 pounds, something like that. If the wind hits this building and it starts to flip this building over, I'm hoping the lawnmower will stop it from flipping. So that protects the solar panels from the wind a little bit, plus I have them turned over and I have concrete blocks on it with a piece of metal. The metal is supposed to protect them from hail damage. So when I get up in the morning and the devastation has happened, all I got to do is flip the solar panels back up, wait for the sun to come out, and I'm up and running. If the sun isn't going to come out, I can turn on the generator for a little bit, and I'm up and running. Now, people are going to say, well, what about gas? What about gas? Well, I keep 2 jugs of gas, so 10 gallons of gas, which will last me 2 weeks. When we were nomads, we traveled around the country, we didn't have solar panels. And we ran a refrigerator and telephone, cell phones. And it would take 2 weeks to run out of gas out of those 2 jugs of gas. So if you're in a hurricane situation, Dad has always gotten his electric back in 2 weeks. But if we don't get electric back within the 2 weeks, and it stays cloudy, which it's not, I mean, it's only going to stay cloudy for no more than a couple of days, I still got the big generator where I can put it on propane. Then the propane, I've got 10 or 12 20-pound canisters. So I suggest that people learn how to start reducing the amount of electric. Now, I know people just can't live without their air conditioning, but you can. I know people in the South are going to say, you can't do it in Florida. Well, they used to. Back in the day, people did it. I know somebody down in Texas, and it's getting hot down in Texas, 115 degrees or something like that, and he doesn't have air conditioning, so it can be done. You just have to learn how to do it. Eat healthy, drink plenty of water. We would not notice, and have not noticed, that the electric goes out. Now, I will admit that we use the cell phone for Netflix at nighttime. We use the cell phone for YouTube, and I also upload videos. If we lost the cell tower, we would be a little bit put out, just a little. I mean, it's entertainment. I don't know if that's really put out, but we could get books. That's really no big deal. And there's plenty of things to do around here where we could whack weeds around here, anything. Lots to do. Play with the chickens, play with the cat. Carolyn and I don't talk that much. We probably could stir up a conversation. So that's the only thing that we would be out, is if the cell tower went down. Beyond that, we don't need anything. And I think everybody should try this. Everybody should start trying to reduce the amount of electric every day. Maybe just give yourself a goal. Once a week, I'm going to get rid of one electrical item. Now, you don't have to get rid of it. It's like you don't have to sell it, but put it out in the garage. And maybe in a few weeks, you'd be down to being able to run off a few solar panels. So, as I was saying, Carolyn was pretty upset that this YouTuber was trying to sell stuff. He was trying to sell a generator or advertise a generator, a solar generator, right in the middle of catastrophe. He used the catastrophe in his opening dialogue to go into selling a component to his people, to his subscribers, of which may not have electric, to go buy it anyways. So it upset her quite a bit. So instead of trying to buy all this stuff, just start reducing the amount of electric you need. So if you click this up next box, take to a video where I was talking about Carolyn came up missing. So if I can inspire you to not worry about these SHTFs so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.